Krishna. Yes, my question is, what if your material duties are against your spiritual duties, or they're not? If your material duties are not helping you become Krishna conscious, then what should you do?
Yeah. Thank you. We sometimes assume my material duties are whatever job I'm doing. And one time somebody said, well, what if I'm a butcher? And somebody said, I have a store that sells liquor, so on and so forth. We assume these are my duties. Many of these duties are actually, according to Bhagavad Gita, called bikarma, forbidden activities. Outright forbidden for not just person in the mode of ignorance, passion, or goodness, but everybody. The vikarma. So first we have to understand what is my prescribed duty, material. Now I'll take the case of Arjuna. His material, so-called material duty is kshatriya, soldier. Now the way spiritual duties are given, they take into account your material propensity. The spiritual master, he understands these disciples' propensities and engages him in spiritual activities that suit his character and personality. So that's how it's not incompatible. The incompatibility comes because we are straddling a spiritual path along with a sinful path. I'm using extreme, but you can understand that to the extent that it diverges from spiritual life, there will be a conflict. People live let's say, a life of illicit sex, then that becomes incompatible also. Now, I will touch upon the very rare case when your material life is not sinful and still there is some contradiction. And Prabhupada does raise that in an earlier purport to the one we've just read. He said, so materially speaking, a spiritualist may be considered as doing something unacceptable. For example, a spiritualist renounces his house to take sannyas. It's not appreciated in material world. It's not, nobody says, everyone says he's neglecting his duties. So Prabhupada explains there that Devarshi Bhutapta Nrinam Pitrina. If one takes full and complete shelter of Mukunda, he is not obliged to follow the material duties. But it's very important, the word if is there. If one is fully surrendered. Only then it doesn't apply. Otherwise one becomes subject to being negligent of his duties. Correct? So unless I know specific details, I'll just have to answer like this.
That actually helps a lot. Thank you.
Okay. Pass the mic.
Okay, you said something which I'm not sure I heard the whole thing. The first part of the sentence was, Krishna consciousness will suit our needs if, and then I lost the rest of it.
If you fully surrender to Krishna,
If you fully surrender to
you
Krishna.
are exempt from your material activities.
Something about the phrase, Krishna consciousness will suit our needs, bothers me.
No, I didn't think I used that phrase. I spoke of if you fully surrender
Yeah.
to Krishna.
Yeah.
There may have been a mishearing,
Yeah.
but if you fully surrender, I was just paraphrasing, Devarshi bhutapta niram pitrina na ayam kinkarorini charajam sarvatma ya sharanam sharanyam gato mukundam pariritya pratam. I was simply paraphrasing that verse from the 11th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam.
So that kind of goes with his question also.
Yeah, that you become exempt even if you're negligent of material duties, if you're fully surrendered to Krishna.
So then there's the question of the mind wandering. So the mind is always as active as the soul. I mean, the mind is always active.
That's the next section of the Bhagavad Gita. Is the mind, that lust resides in three places: the senses, the mind, and intelligence. So that's where we're going to discuss that feature of the mind, which disturbs even a person engaged in his prescribed duties. That's the one caveat that's going to be covered in the next session. Not in one session, because it's a number of verses. But that's the next section of this chapter. Atakena, by what my Lord is there that drives anicca. He does not want, he engages in sinful activities. By what? So there's a caveat. The mind does not wander if you're properly situated. But for one thing, if lust has gotten hold. That's the exemption. But mind, see, we have a problem. Our mind wanders without a reason. Because we're not properly situated. That mind wandering we had to deal with today. Don't let your mind wander. That's under provocation the mind wanders. Because one of your sense objects just went past. So your mind wanders. But without any sense object, our mind is wandering.
Full time.
Full time. What's on the internet? Who's done what? What did who? For nothing. Because you're not properly situated. That mind wandering is not good. Is that okay?
Well, that's okay. That expresses it. I'm just looking for the solution.
Well, the next section is an interesting one. It's very interesting. There are some wonderful things to explain about it. No. For next time. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. So yesterday we heard that how different varnas are categorized by their source.
Livelihood.
Yeah. So I was thinking about what about inheritance of property from ancestors, and second, interest from deposits. Means I have heard about interest that it is not recommended for such some varnas.
Good question, because you were thinking about the topic. Okay. The point of inheritance or being rich, just being rich, is not a criteria for prescribed duties are not done in order to somebody to become rich. So if somebody is rich, then it's kind of redundant. No, the idea of prescribed duties is engagement. Engagement. In the Vedic concept, for example, like Arjuna actually was very rich. He had a priceless gem on his crown. I mean, they were already wealthy. Prescribed duties have not got anything to do with what you have or you don't have. They're done for purification. So your livelihood is done for purification. A Brahmana could, let's say, make money by being a businessman. But he won't become purified. His purification is for his vocation. Vocation, you understand? His profession, his prescribed duty. It's not the richness. I'm saying he may actually become rich by doing business, but not purification. So even though there is the element of earning money, but it's not with the view to earning money, it's with the view to becoming purified. Your mode of earning money is your mode of purification. One's mode of earning is salary, Shudra. One's mode of earning, and he becomes purified by that. You see, he becomes purified. The Vaishya, he earns by trade or by growing, producing. So he becomes purified by that. Nanda Maharaj had 900,000 cows. How many cows do you need? So he wasn't short of, but he engaged in it. We don't hear him just, gallivanting and, siesta. Everyone is engaged. Sorry, the word gallivanting is just like a person pleasing himself only. Oh, shall I go to Agra? No, we'll go to Bangkok. Just pleasing himself. Everyone engages in activities to purify themselves. Even if you're rich. And certainly you have to engage in your duties if you're not rich. Because you have to earn something. Alright.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I am first time attending this class. So normally I am visiting this place but not attending any class. My only simple question is, from Monday to Friday we are attending materialistic duties. Only on Saturday and Sunday we are attending spiritual duties. We are performing spiritual duties. How there is any possibility while performing our spiritual duty, if we surrender 100% to Krishna, can we perform our material duties in a better way?
Yes, actually Krishna gives a wonderful formula. He says, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yudhyacha. That in all circumstances, in all conditions, mam anusmara, think of me, and yudhyacha, fight in the case of Arjuna. In your case, your duty. So you have to learn the art of remembering Krishna whilst you're doing. That's the answer. How to do it is more detailed. If you read the purport to that verse, and it's also explained in the introduction to the Bhagavad Gita, the chanting Hare Krishna mantra and remembering Krishna's saying, the chanting Hare Krishna you can cultivate, you can monitor your progress, and that will reflect in your remembering Krishna all the time. But attend more classes. Alright, you had a question?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Related to his point and yesterday's class, that you said that whatever the money will come by his own, that is about Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudras, and about the Kshatriyas by taxation he will get the money, and the Vaishyas by doing the business, and Shudras he will get the salary. So just I was thinking that we can see as a Kshatriya, like we can see just live example I was taking, that even in Vrindavan also, like there are a group of people just standing there, and the people come from Delhi with car and they stop and they collect the money. And
Taxi.
Yeah. And as far as Brahmanas, we can see in our own ISKCON also, like the fund will not come itself, but we ourselves go and
solicit, ask.
Yes, ask. Yeah, that will not come itself. And as far as Vaishyas, nowadays you can see that business, like if you want to become success in business, one has to put one topi on others, so he will get that profit. like this is how just I want to clarify these things.
So these are called faults. Today's verse, Biguna, even with faults, better to do it. Better to do your duty, even if it has faults. And it does have faults. All of them have faults. But the purpose behind them is not to the money, is my point. It's an engagement because you'll invariably go in that direction. But do it in a Krishna conscious fashion, as yajna. In other words, if you do it without Krishna consciousness, it's faulty. But when you start adding Krishna, for Krishna, it becomes faultless as you do it. As you put Krishna in the center, that activity becomes purified. Otherwise it is faulty. That verse is also going to be mentioned when lust covers everybody like the embryo and everything. There are faults attached to every endeavor. But this process purifies you even though there are faults in the process or done faultily. Very interesting. You can't expect, you're in the ocean, you're wet, you can't expect to be dry and then come out. You see? But there's a process of coming out of the ocean even though you're wet. And there's a process of drowning in the ocean. The point is, don't look at the fault. Look at the objective. Don't be attached to rules and regulations, Krishna just said. But go beyond them to the purpose behind those rules. Yeah, you can take it. Very short wire.
I have a question that, like, today there is much, things are more complicated and like it is difficult to classify things. Means Brahmana, intellectuals, scientists, philosophers, thinkers. Okay, but means once they look like Brahmanas, intellectuals, but they are taking salary, so they become Shura.
Right.
Means things look like.
Right. So in this age is specifically described as an age where people's varna is confused, varna sankara. This age we live in, one of its characteristics is that the varna will be confused. But you see, just like, for example, let's suppose you're suffering from a disease. We don't know what disease, but you are suffering from a disease. Do you understand? Varna Sankara is like not knowing what is your disease, so not knowing what is your prescription. But you are suffering. Think about that. It does answer, I think, the point. Grantra Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.